In today's world, one thing drives everything: power. Power controls business, relationships, success, fame, even respect. Whether we accept it or not, the one who understands the game of power wins the game of life. But here's the catch. Power doesn't always come to those who deserve it. It comes to those who know how to play the game. Robert Greene, in his best-selling book, The 48 Laws of Power, teaches us that power is neither good nor evil. It's a tool. It depends on how we use it. And in this video, we begin a journey through the 48 most powerful, psychological, strategic, and even ruthless laws that can help you rise, survive, and dominate in this competitive world. But remember, these laws are not meant to be followed blindly. They are meant to be understood. Sometimes you use them, sometimes you protect yourself from them. So let's begin. Laws of power, decoded with real-life relevance, deep insight, and timeless wisdom. Law 1, never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel superior. If you make them feel insecure, they will destroy you. This is the first and most important law. If you're more talented, more skilled, or more intelligent than the person above you, hide it, let them shine. Let them feel like the smartest person in the room. People in power, be it your boss, teacher, elder, or leader, have egos. And egos can be fragile. Book example, Nicolas Fouquet, finance minister of France, once threw a lavish party to impress King Louis XIV. The king was indeed impressed, but also threatened. He felt Fouquet was trying to outshine him. What did he do? He arrested Fouquet and imprisoned him for life. Life example, ever seen a colleague outperform their boss in meetings? If they do it too often, they become a threat, not a star. The result? They get sidelined, not promoted. Lesson, let your master feel smarter, more powerful. Support them subtly. Their rise can pull you up, but their insecurity can destroy you. Law 2, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Friends often betray out of envy. Enemies, on the other hand, have more to prove. We often believe friends are safe, loyal, and trustworthy. But history and real life show us something else. Friends can turn into enemies faster than enemies become friends. When you give power, responsibility, or secrets to a close friend, they might misuse it. Familiarity breeds contempt. But an enemy, if they join your side, they will be loyal because they want to prove themselves. They know they're being watched. They'll work harder, smarter. Book example, Michael III, Emperor of Byzantium, hired his former enemy Basilius as his closest ally. Basilius worked loyally, gained trust, and later killed Michael to become emperor himself. Life example, have you ever helped a friend get a job only for them to backstab you at work? Why? Because friends think they deserve what you have. Lesson, don't blindly trust friends. Use judgment, test loyalty, and sometimes give a second chance to an old rival. You might gain a powerful ally. Law 3, conceal your intentions. If people can't predict you, they can't stop you. One of the greatest powers is unpredictability. If others don't know your real plan, they can't block it, steal it, or manipulate it. Most people talk too much, revealing their dreams, strategies, next move, and unknowingly give others the chance to attack. Book example, Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian statesman, never let his enemies or even allies understand his real political intentions. By the time they realized what he was doing, it was already too late. Life example, you want to start a new business. You share the idea with friends and colleagues. Soon, someone else starts the same thing before you. Lesson, keep your next move private. Mislead with distractions, red herrings. Be like a chess grandmaster, 5 steps ahead, but silent about it. Law 4, always say less than necessary. Powerful people talk less. The more you say, the more ordinary you sound. Words have power, but too many words have weakness. When you speak too much, you reveal your thoughts, your emotions, your fears. But when you say less, you seem calm, wise, mysterious, and mystery creates authority. Book example, King Louis XIV was known as the Sun King, not just for his rule, but his silence. He rarely spoke. When he did, people listened, because when powerful people speak less, their words become golden. Life example, in meetings or arguments, have you seen people who talk too much? Eventually, they lose impact. But a quiet person who speaks one line and ends the discussion commands the most respect. Lesson, say less, mean more. Let others speak while you observe. The silent man is often the most feared. Law 5, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation is the foundation of power. Lose it and you become vulnerable. In the digital world, your reputation travels faster than your presence. People judge your value, trustworthiness, and status by what they hear about you, not always by what they see. Reputation protects you. It opens doors, builds alliances, and prevents attacks. But once it's damaged, even if you're right, people may not listen. Book example: Julius Caesar, the great Roman general, built a reputation of being generous and merciful. Even when he made mistakes, his reputation shielded him. But Brutus, who helped assassinate Caesar, lost reputation forever. He was seen as a traitor. Life example: a hardworking employee gets into one office conflict and rumors spread. Even if he was innocent, his career suffers because his reputation was attacked first. Lesson: protect your name, react quickly to damage, and if needed, attack your rival's reputation before they attack yours. Because in the court of public opinion, perception is everything. Law 6, court attention at all cost. What is not seen doesn't count. Visibility is power. In this world, attention is currency. If no one knows who you are, you don't matter. No matter how talented or intelligent you may be, you must stand out. Blend in and you become invisible. People are drawn to the bold, the mysterious, the flamboyant. Whether they love you or hate you, if they're talking about you, you've already won. Book example: P.T. Barnum, the legendary showman, mastered this law. He created outrageous publicity stunts to stay in the news. Even when critics mocked him, he gained audience, popularity, and wealth. Real-life example: on social media, those who go viral often do it not by being perfect, but by being loud, unique, or different. In job interviews or the business world, it's not always the most qualified who win, it's the most visible and memorable. Lesson: don't hide in the crowd. Dress with style, speak with boldness, create mystery around your persona. Make people notice you, or risk being forgotten. Law 7, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Use the skills of others to advance your own position. Save your time, take the glory. History remembers leaders, not their helpers. That's the harsh truth of power. The wise never waste energy doing everything themselves. They delegate, manipulate, and then claim the outcome as their own. Book example: Thomas Edison is often credited with inventing the light bulb, but much of the work was done by his assistants, like especially a man named Francis Upton. Edison took the credit and became a legend. Real-life example: in corporate culture, many senior executives delegate major tasks to juniors, but when success arrives, they own the spotlight. That's not unfair, that's strategic. Lesson: build a network. Use talents around you. Let others sweat while you rise. And remember, power rewards the face of success, not the effort behind it. Law 8, make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. The one who reacts is weaker. The one who waits and pulls is in control. If you chase others, they control the pace. But if you make them chase you, you control the outcome. Lure people in. Use temptation. Create opportunities that make them come knocking. When they come to you, they leave their defenses behind. Chinese General Zhuge Liang once lured an enemy army by opening the city gates and pretending it was a trap. The enemy panicked and retreated, all because he controlled the setting. Real-life example: in negotiation, the one who speaks less often holds more power. If you're in business, don't pitch desperately. Create value, wait, and let them come to you. Now you're in control. Lesson: set the bait. Don't reveal desperation. When people come to you on your terms, you hold all the cards. Law 9, win through your actions, never through argument. Words create enemies. Actions build belief. Debates, fights, and arguments rarely change anyone's mind. They only create ego clashes, resentment, and bitterness. But action is undeniable. If you want to prove a point, don't argue, demonstrate. Book example: Galileo tried to explain his astronomical discoveries through reason, but was imprisoned. Instead of arguing with the church, he could have let time and scientific proof do the talking. Real-life example: have you ever argued with someone online or at work, and despite all facts, they still didn't agree? But when you achieve results silently, the world can't ignore you. Lesson: stop wasting energy in convincing others. Silence your critics with results. Let your success speak, because words fade, but achievements echo. Law 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Negativity is contagious. Misery loves company. Some people carry storms around them. Their life is full of chaos, failures, drama, and when you get too close, that energy spills onto you. It's not about being heartless, it's about protecting your energy. Book example. Greene mentions Lola Montez, a beautiful but destructive woman who brought down multiple powerful men in Europe. Every man who got involved with her eventually lost his position, power, or sanity. Real life example. We all know that one friend or relative, always negative, always complaining, always in a mess. Help them from a distance, but never let them pull you into their drowning ship. Lesson. Surround yourself with winners, dreamers, doers. Avoid those who blame, complain, and drag others down. Because energy is transferable, and so is destruction. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. To maintain your independence, always be needed and wanted. If people can live without you, they will. But if you make yourself indispensable, you gain control without even lifting a finger. The key to lasting power isn't dominance, it's dependency. Make people rely on you emotionally, financially, or intellectually, and they won't dare challenge or remove you. Book example. Cardinal Richelieu, advisor to King Louis XIII of France, made himself so valuable in running the kingdom that even his enemies couldn't get rid of him. The king depended on him, and Richelieu ruled behind the throne for decades. Real-life example. In your job, don't just do tasks. Learn something your boss doesn't know. Master a system only you can handle. When people realize they can't replace you easily, you become untouchable. Lesson. Build value. Control key information or resources. Make others feel that without you, they are weaker. That's the real silent power. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One sincere gesture can erase 1,000 lies. Trust is a weapon, and sometimes a small act of kindness is the perfect camouflage for a bigger plan. When people sense honesty or generosity, they drop their guard. But if you're strategic with your sincerity, you can get away with almost anything. Book example. Conman Count Victor Lustig once sold the Eiffel Tower, not once, but twice. He disarmed his targets by showing sincerity, offering small gifts, and using charming manners so they never questioned his motives. Real-life example. We often trust people who show us a small act of kindness, like paying for lunch, giving a gift, or offering a compliment. But these acts can also be setups, especially in business or politics. Lesson. Use honesty wisely. Don't lie all the time. That creates suspicion. But one well-placed, truthful moment or generous act can unlock doors that manipulation never could. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. People care about themselves, not your struggles. You may think, he owes me, I helped him once. But power doesn't work on favors. It works on leverage. When asking for help, never beg, guilt trip, or bring up the past. Instead, show how helping you benefits them. That's how powerful alliances are born. Book example. When the Greek city of Corcyra was under attack, they asked Athens for help. Instead of saying, we're suffering, they said, if you help us now, you'll gain a strategic position in the war. Athens agreed, not out of kindness, but out of self-interest. Real-life example. In business, if you want a partnership or investment, don't talk about how much you need it. Show them how it will grow their profit, status, or reach. Lesson. Speak the language of self-benefit. Every person is tuned into one channel. What's in it for me? Answer that, and you'll never be ignored. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. The more you know about others, the more power you hold. Information is power, and the best way to get it is not by force, but by friendship. People open up to those who listen, nod, and ask the right questions. Be curious, blend in, let them feel safe. They'll tell you more than you need to know. Book example. The Chinese war strategist Sun Tzu advised rulers to plant spies in the enemy's court, people who acted like friends but gathered valuable information. Battles were won not on strength but on secrets. Real-life example. In office politics, the ones who rise fastest are not the loudest, but the quiet observers who know everyone's weakness, alliances, and intentions. They don't expose it until it serves their purpose. Lesson. Ask. Listen. Never reveal too much. The one who knows more has more control. Always. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. A half-dead enemy is still dangerous. Finish the fight. If you leave an enemy wounded, whether in business, politics, or life, They will heal, regroup, and come back stronger. But if you end their ability to strike, you win forever. Mercy may look noble, but it gives space for revenge. Power requires finality, not pity. Book example. In ancient Rome, Julius Caesar spared many of his enemies. Years later, one of those, Brutus, led the conspiracy that assassinated him. Had Caesar crushed them earlier, he might have lived to rule. Real-life example. You start a business and defeat a competitor, but you don't fully take their market, brand, or influence. They regroup, rebrand, and return stronger. Lesson: when the time comes to end the threat, don't hesitate. Crush completely. Not cruelly, but clearly. Because survival is not just about winning, it's about never letting them rise again. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much presence makes you cheap. Absence makes your value rise. If you're always available, you lose your mystery. You become common, but when you step away, people start to notice your absence. They remember your presence and your worth grows. Book example. Napoleon Bonaparte knew this well. He'd withdraw from public view, only to return dramatically, making people admire and long for his presence even more. Real-life example. Think of celebrities or influencers. When they constantly post, people get bored. But when they go quiet for a while, fans flood the comments. Where are you? We miss you. That's not by accident, that's strategy. Lesson: don't overexpose yourself. Even in relationships, friendship, or business, sometimes disappear a little. Let your absence create curiosity. Let people realize your value by feeling your void. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictability makes you powerless. Unpredictability makes you feared. Humans crave patterns. When they can guess your next move, they prepare for it. But when you're unpredictable, you throw them off. They fear you because they can't calculate you. Book example. King Charles II of Spain acted randomly and erratically. Not because he was mad, but because it confused his enemies and courtiers. No one knew his next decision. That gave him control. Real-life example. In sports, unpredictable players are the most feared. In negotiations, those who don't react as expected shift the power. Even in daily life, if people can't guess your reaction, they treat you more cautiously. Lesson: break your own patterns. Surprise others. Don't always say yes or no the same way. Make people wonder what you'll do next, and you'll keep the upper hand. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. You think isolation is safety? It's a trap. Yes, the world is full of competition, envy, and betrayal. But cutting yourself off, hiding, or withdrawing from society will only make you weaker. Power grows in connection, in movement, in influence. Book example. Chinese Emperor Qin built massive walls to keep enemies out, but in doing so, he also lost access to critical alliances and fresh perspectives. He became vulnerable inside his own fortress. Real-life example. Have you ever seen someone who avoids people because of betrayal or failure? They get lonelier, more bitter, and weaker. Isolation doesn't protect, it destroys. Lesson: be among people, build alliances, gather information. Yes, be cautious, but never be cut off. A moving ship survives. Law 19, know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not everyone is the same. Some enemies never forgive. Some attacks destroy you forever. Every person has a different temperament. Some are emotional, some strategic, and some, if offended, will make it their life's mission to bring you down. Book example. Greene tells the story of Michael III, the Byzantine emperor who mocked and humiliated his advisor, Basil the Macedonian. Basil smiled, waited, and later had Michael assassinated, all because Michael didn't know who he was mocking. Real-life example. You joke with a friend, they laugh. You say the same thing to a coworker, and they hold a grudge for life. One wrong move with the wrong person can cost you everything. Lesson: study people before acting. Don't assume everyone is harmless. Respect the quiet ones. Watch the proud ones. Fear the revenge-driven ones. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. The moment you take sides, you lose your independence. People love to pull you into their battles, their ideologies, their rivalries, their agendas. Once you choose a side, you become a pawn in their game. Power comes from being desired by all, loyal to none. Float between camps. Keep everyone guessing. Book example. Queen Elizabeth I of England refused to marry even when all of Europe tried to win her hand. By staying neutral, she gained diplomatic power. Each nation courted her, hoping for her favor. She didn't commit. She controlled. Real-life example. In offices, those who openly take sides become targets, but the one who listens to all, smiles at all, but chooses none becomes the safest and most powerful. Lesson: don't rush to pick a team. Be the one everyone wants on their side, but who belongs to no one. That's how kings are made, not soldiers. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark, appear less intelligent, and you'll never be seen as a threat. There's a hidden power in underestimating yourself on purpose. When people think you're weak, dumb, or harmless, they let down their guard, and that's when you strike. Book example: Otto von Bismarck, the German chancellor, pretended to be slow-witted in meetings. Politicians underestimated him until he outmaneuvered them all and united Germany. Real-life example: you might act like you don't understand the deal while secretly analyzing every detail. You might pretend to be unsure in a debate, only to land your strongest point at the end. It's chess, not checkers. Lesson: don't always show your intelligence. Let others feel superior. Make their ego your weapon, because the smarter player doesn't always look smart, they just win silently. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weak, don't fight. Surrender. Then strike later. Sometimes retreat is strategy. When your enemy is stronger, fighting means losing, but if you surrender, you gain time, you confuse them, and most importantly, you survive to fight smarter. Book example: during the early stages of the Chinese Civil War, Mao Zedong's forces were weaker. He didn't fight head-on. He surrendered ground, retreated strategically, and later returned stronger to win the war. Real-life example: ever been insulted in public but smiled and walked away? That's not weakness. That's mental warfare. The other person expects rage. Your calmness shakes them more. Lesson: don't fight battles you can't win. Step back, observe, and when the moment is right, strike like lightning. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Don't spread your energy. Focus everything where it matters. Power is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing with full force. Don't chase 10 goals. Don't scatter your attention across 100 tasks. Find the one thing that matters most and go all in. Book example: Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men of his time, said, "The way to become rich is to put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket." Real-life example: a person who wants to master fitness, finance, and 5 hobbies often ends up mastering nothing. But someone who puts all energy into one business, one purpose, becomes a master, a brand, a force. Lesson: pick your battles, focus your firepower. Intensity beats variety every single time. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Charm, grace, and diplomacy will take you further than blunt power. The courtier is the ultimate power player, never openly aggressive, never too obvious. He wins through subtlety, flattery, and perfect social timing. Book example: during the reign of Louis XIV, courtiers learned to rise in the palace not through talent, but through skillful praise, loyalty, and flawless behavior. The one who pleased the king rose. The one who spoke too freely vanished. Real-life example: at work, it's not always the hardest worker who gets promoted. It's often the one who understands politics, praises the boss at the right time, and stays in everyone's good books. Lesson: power flows in social settings. Learn the game. Use charm, not force. Know when to speak, when to flatter, when to disappear. Be smooth like water and just as unstoppable. Law 25. Recreate yourself. You don't have to be who the world says you are. You were not born with one identity. You can transform, evolve, rise. You don't have to accept the labels given to you. You can write your own story. Book example: Julius Caesar started as a relatively unknown politician, but through style, charisma, and dramatic gestures, he recreated himself into a godlike figure in Rome. Real-life example: we've all seen it. The shy, quiet person who transforms into a powerful speaker, the broke teenager who reinvents himself into a millionaire entrepreneur. Transformation is not luck, it's power by design. Lesson: don't wait for the world to define you. Be an actor, a creator, a master of image. If life gives you a role you don't like, rewrite the script. Law 26. Let others do the dirty work. You stay spotless. When mistakes happen, let someone else take the fall. When a decision hurts people, let it come from another mouth. If you want to maintain influence, you must preserve your image, even if you're behind every move. Book example: King Louis XIV of France had a man named Louvois who delivered bad news, punished enemies, and handled scandals. Louis kept smiling while others did the hard part. To the world, he remained the shining, divine king. Real-life example. In modern business, CEOs often fire top managers when companies fail, even if the failure was their strategy. Why? Because optics matter. Lesson: use others as buffers. When things go wrong, you weren't there. When success happens, you step in. Let others get dirty while you stay divine. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People don't want the truth. They want meaning, purpose, magic. If you can offer people hope, certainty, or a dream, they will follow you. They'll defend you, die for you, create rituals, use mystery, speak with passion, not logic. Book example. Charles Manson, a criminal mastermind, created a cult by convincing followers that he was a prophet. He gave lost young people a cause, a truth, and a sense of family. They followed him blindly, even to destruction. Real-life example. Brands like Apple didn't just sell phones, they sold identity. People believed in Steve Jobs like a visionary. That belief made Apple more than a product. It became a movement. Let's speak with conviction. Promise transformation. Build a following not on facts, but on faith in you. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Timidity is dangerous. Boldness creates fear and admiration. No one follows the uncertain. No one fears the hesitant. If you want to win, you must move with boldness, even if you don't feel it. Book example. Hernán Cortés, the Spanish conqueror, burned his own ships when he arrived in Mexico. There was no turning back. He attacked with full force and won against all odds. Real-life example. Job interviews, business pitches, life-changing decisions. The one who speaks with boldness, not perfection, wins the room. Because boldness is a magnet, people are drawn to it. Lesson: stop doubting. If you make a mistake, make it bold and correct it even bolder. The world belongs to the daring. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. A plan without an end is just a wish. Short-term wins are dangerous when you don't know where you're going. Every great power player sees the end game and works backward. Book example. Napoleon's early victories were bold, but he didn't plan long-term. He invaded Russia without fully preparing for winter. The result? He lost half his army and the war. Real-life example. Many people get into business, love, or partnerships without a real long-term plan. They enjoy the start but don't prepare for the twists, failures, and endings, and they crash. Lesson: think 10 steps ahead. Imagine the obstacles, the betrayals, the temptations, and when you see the end clearly, you walk through the chaos with calm. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. If they see how hard you work, they'll stop believing in your greatness. Never show the sweat, never explain the hours. To the world, your success should look like magic. Book example. Frederick the Great of Prussia trained his army ruthlessly, but during parades and battles, he made it all look like flawless genius. People believed he was a born military god, not a hardworking soldier. Real-life example. The artist who paints effortlessly, the speaker who never looks at notes, the entrepreneur who launches perfectly, what they all hide is the grind. And that's why the world admires them. Lesson: let them see the results, not the recipe. Be smooth, be graceful. Let your greatness look like fate, not effort. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. The illusion of choice is more powerful than freedom itself. Real power is not in giving people freedom. It's in giving them options. Your options. Let them feel like they're in control while you control the outcome. Book example. During the French Revolution, Napoleon gave the people a vote, but only after carefully controlling the options. No matter what they chose, the final result favored him. He gave freedom with invisible strings. Real-life example. In business, smart companies offer packages: basic, pro, and premium. Most people choose the middle one. But guess what? All three were designed to benefit the company. You feel like you chose, but they controlled the choice. Lesson: don't fight for control. Design the game. Let people pick, but only from the cards you dealt. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. Reality is harsh. Truth is boring. But fantasy, that gives people life. The world is full of pain, struggle, and complexity. If you can offer people a beautiful lie, a dream, a belief, a better version of life, they will follow you. Book example: Madame de Pompadour rose to power in the French court not by politics, but by enchanting the king with fantasy, poetry, art, and romantic mystery. He fell in love with the dream, not the woman. Real-life example: think of movies, advertisements, influencers. They don't sell reality, they sell a lifestyle, a dream, a version of success people wish they had. Lesson: don't be the cold realist in a world that craves illusion. Feed people's fantasies. Be the one who makes life feel magical again. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness. Find it, and you own them. No matter how powerful someone looks on the outside, there's a pressure point, an insecurity, a secret, a need. Find it, and you control the game. Book example: Cardinal Richelieu, advisor to the French king, used spies to uncover secrets of his enemies. Once he found their weakness, he manipulated them like puppets without lifting a sword. Real-life example: people may act tough, but their thumbnails could be approval, fear of loss, ambition, or love. If you know what drives someone, you don't need to fight them. You just press the right nerve. Lesson: listen, watch, dig deep. Once you find that hidden switch, power is in your hand. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. How you carry yourself is how the world sees you. Walk like you matter. Speak like your words are valuable. If you behave like royalty, people will treat you like you wear a crown. Book example: Christopher Columbus convinced Queen Isabella of Spain to fund his voyage. Not because he was rich or noble, but because he carried himself like a man of destiny. He made them believe in his vision. He acted like royalty, and they handed him ships. Real-life example: in any room, some people walk in with confidence, and the whole atmosphere shifts. That's not status, that's presence. They act worthy, and the world treats them that way. Lesson: respect yourself first. Never beg, never shrink. Carry yourself like a king, and the crown will follow. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Hurry is weakness. Patience is power. The right move at the wrong time is a mistake. In war, business, or love, timing is everything. Know when to wait and when to strike with precision. Book example: Queen Elizabeth I delayed marriage proposals for years, using timing to keep powerful kings on edge. This bought her alliances, peace, and respect without ever saying yes or no. Real-life example: the best investors don't chase markets, they wait. The best leaders don't act emotionally, they calculate, then attack. Lesson: be a student of moments. Don't rush. Don't drag. Move when the time is ripe. And when you strike, make it unforgettable. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Desire gives power. Indifference takes it away. Sometimes the best way to win is to walk away. If you can't have something, don't chase it. If someone insults you, don't respond. When you show indifference, you become untouchable. Book example: Diogenes, the Greek philosopher, was once mocked by Alexander the Great. Diogenes didn't bow, didn't react. He simply said, "Stand out of my sunlight." That moment made Diogenes legendary. Real-life example: think of relationships. When someone ghosts you and you chase them, they feel powerful. But when you ignore their silence and level up in silence, the tables turn. Lesson: ignore what you can't have. Mocking, crying, or chasing only makes the other side stronger. Silence is nuclear revenge. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. People don't believe what they hear. They believe what they see. Words are forgotten, but imagery lasts forever. If you want to be powerful, become a master of visual impact. Create drama, mystery, symbols, scenes. Book example: Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon River in defiance of Rome, a bold move that created a visual revolution. He didn't just declare war, he made a statement. Real-life example: think of Elon Musk launching a Tesla into space. Was it necessary? Maybe not. But visually, it stamped a message into history. We are rewriting the future. Lesson: create moments. Don't just do, perform. Be unforgettable, not just successful. Power loves spectacle. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Rebels are admired from afar, but punished when too close. Yes, you're unique. Yes, your ideas are different, but don't show your rebellion too openly. Society punishes what it doesn't understand. Book example: Galileo was a genius, but his outspoken beliefs against the church nearly got him executed. He learned to play by the rules, in public, and kept his real thoughts in private. Real-life example: At work, someone who constantly questions authority gets labeled as difficult. But someone who blends in, builds relationships, and then rises with power gets called a leader. Lesson: keep your originality, but hide your fire. Be the flame behind the curtain. Blend in before you break through. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. If you can make your enemy angry, you win. Power belongs to the calm mind. If you stay cool while others burn, you can make them expose their weaknesses, make mistakes, even destroy themselves. Book example: Napoleon often provoked his enemies emotionally. When they attacked blindly, he stayed calm and crushed them. Real life example: on social media, trolls try to bait you. If you explode, they win. But if you stay calm, poised, or even silent, you control the narrative. Lesson: master your emotions and learn to disturb others. When they get angry, they give you power. Law 40, despise the free lunch. Nothing worth having is truly free. Free gifts often come with invisible strings. Free advice, free favors, even free help might cost you later. Book example: when the ancient Chinese general Liu Buwei offered his wealth to help a poor boy, that boy became emperor, and Liu gained massive influence. It was never about generosity, it was investment. Real life example: how many people accept free deals, free trials, or shortcuts only to get trapped in commitment, guilt, or control? Lesson: pay full price, earn your path. When you give freely, do it from strength, not weakness. And when someone offers something too good to be true, ask, what's the hidden cost? The Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. You will always be compared, and comparisons are cruel. Following a legend is dangerous. No matter how good you are, you'll always be seen as lesser unless you break the pattern. Book example: Alexander the Great succeeded his father, King Philip II, a powerful and admired ruler. But Alexander didn't walk in his father's shadow. He changed the game, conquered Persia, went farther, thought bigger. He became the new standard. Real life example: when Steve Jobs passed away, Tim Cook stepped in. Instead of copying Jobs, he built his own quiet, consistent leadership style, focusing on stability over showmanship. Now, Apple thrives in his name too. Lesson: don't imitate, don't preserve someone else's legacy. Build your own, change direction, and create your own sun. Law 42, one strong influence can poison an entire group. If chaos is brewing around you, don't waste time arguing with the crowd. Find the instigator, the troublemaker, the leader of dissent. Book example: during the early Roman Empire, any leader who threatened Caesar's control was swiftly eliminated. Not with open war, but with targeted power. Once the leader vanished, the followers surrendered or scattered. Real life example: in any office, a toxic colleague can turn a peaceful team into a battlefield. Addressing everyone won't help, but if you neutralize the source, peace returns. Lesson: don't treat the symptoms, strike at the root. One move can calm the entire storm. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. People aren't ruled by logic. They're ruled by emotion. If you try to force people to follow you, they'll rebel. But if you touch their hearts, they'll follow you, willingly. Book example: Abraham Lincoln never insulted his enemies. He tried to understand them. He turned enemies into allies by using empathy, charm, and psychological intelligence. Real life example: in business and leadership, those who inspire emotion, not just facts, create loyal teams. A boss can command you, but a leader wins your heart. Lesson: learn what people love, fear, value. Win their emotions and you'll win their loyalty. Control the heart and the mind will follow. Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. The best way to attack is to reflect. When you mirror someone's behavior, you confuse them. You rob them of power because they can't predict or understand you. Book example: in ancient warfare, generals would copy enemy tactics exactly, frustrating them, turning their confidence into chaos. Real life example: if someone uses sarcasm, mirror it back. If they lie, reflect their words, they'll feel exposed like looking in a mirror they didn't ask for. It destabilizes egos. Lesson: don't resist, reflect. It disarms, mocks, and throws them off balance. And all you did was copy. Law 45, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. People want progress, but they fear change. You may have a better system, a new idea, a bold plan, but if you move too fast, people panic. Even revolutions fail when they don't respect rhythm. Book example, the French Revolution promised freedom and fairness, but introduced too much, too fast. The chaos terrified the public. In the end, they welcomed Napoleon, a dictator, just to feel stable again. Real-life example, in companies or governments, leaders who bring radical change instantly face resistance, even if they're right. But those who soften the blow and ease people into change succeed. Lesson: change is a process, not a shock. Speak like you respect the old while you gently install the new. Law 46, never appear too perfect. Perfection is a mask that invites attack. Flaws are your shield. If you shine too brightly, people won't admire you. They'll aim at you. The more perfect you look, the more others secretly wish to see you fall. Book example, Nobel Prize-winning scientist Nikola Tesla was a genius, but his brilliance made others jealous. His perfection became his curse. Rivals like Edison used this resentment to block Tesla from success. Real-life example, we all know someone who seems to have it all, looks, success, confidence, but the moment they slip, people celebrate their downfall. Lesson: be human. Let them see small flaws, harmless habits. Don't let envy grow unchecked. Too much light creates too much shadow. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. Victory is dangerous. It tempts you to want more. After a win, most people want a bigger one. They keep pushing until they lose everything. True power lies in knowing when to stop. Book example, Julius Caesar won battles, power, and the love of Rome. But he didn't stop. He took too much, became dictator for life, and for that, he was stabbed by those closest to him. Real-life example, in sports, business, even love, people often lose because they don't know how to pause at the peak. They get greedy, and it all collapses. Lesson: celebrate victory, then walk away strong. Never let success blind you to timing. Finish the game before it finishes you. Law 48, assume formlessness. Power belongs to the one who can't be pinned down. The final law is not about dominance, it's about adaptability. The world changes, enemies evolve, and if you stay rigid, you break. But if you stay fluid like water, you survive and thrive. Book example, Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend, because water flows, bends, and crashes, but never breaks. Real-life example, those who succeed in life don't have one fixed identity. They adapt to people, times, and chaos. Lesson: don't be a fixed statue. Be the storm, the mist, the shadow. No one can control what has no shape. Power belongs to the formless. In this world of illusion, betrayal, desire, and competition, power is not just about dominance. It's about control. Control over your emotions, your timing, your choices. These 48 laws, they're not rules to live by. They are tools to understand the world. You can use them to protect yourself, or rise to the top, or just to avoid being played. But remember this, true power is not in manipulation, it's in mastery, mastery of yourself. So stay sharp, stay strategic, and never let the game play you. If you felt power in these words, if you saw the world more clearly today, then like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel for more wisdom, strategy, and strength. Because in this world, knowledge is power, but action is domination. See you in the next video.